It's important because people don't need to lose their lives in disasters. It's important because countries lose a lot of money and individuals lose a lot of money from disasters. It's important because it can cause social instability. And it's important because it can cause political upheaval if people don't feel that they are safe.
Have any African countries successfully adopted disaster risk reduction programs?
Several of them have already years ago started looking at prevention. Mozambique is one. After many of the big disasters, big cyclones that have hit, you remember surely some of the images, have really systematically also built a better response system and looking at public education and awareness. You can also cite the example really of Ethiopia, that has been combating its persistent drought and very heavy population pressure on fragile agricultural soils and deforestation through building a social safety net combined with rural and agricultural development. In West Africa, I mentioned Ghana. It's a good example of a country that tackles this. The Western Sahel countries that are very drought prone, for example Mali, is also tackling these similar issues.
Now, disaster risk reduction is extremely expensive. That's the main problem, isn't it? Most governments would agree with you that it's an excellent idea, but they just don't have the money.
It is not necessarily extremely expensive. Prevention pays, but you don't always have to pay for prevention. One of our colleagues who looked into the economics of disaster risk reduction. And the first step is always to look at what you do and see if you can do it from a more risk-conscious perspective. Look at the collateral impact of the way you build roads, where do you place schools and social infrastructure, look at your water management practices. All this important for many economic reasons.
It's also an issue of good, or should I say bad governance. Many of the governments where we're looking at, especially in Africa, just don't govern well enough, and they wouldn't be able to put together and sustain this sort of program.
I'm very convinced that they can, but there is definitely an issue about strength and capacity of institutions. One of the critical factors for success is the quality and strength and the clarity of institutional responsibilities. In addition to that, you need to have the political will and the political commitment and the political leadership and guts to say there are many important issues, but there are also some issues that are critically important and urgent.
There are many countries that know that if there is a disaster, the UN will come and fix it, so there's no point in spending all their money on disaster preparedness.
Yeah. To some degree, maybe more than necessary, this is true, that there is you just watch TV and you see the international system slam into full gear and go to assist countries. But this happens, unfortunately, regrettably, only in very large-scale events. Every day there are disasters that are not small for the people who are affected, but maybe small in the scale of international media attention and global attention. And these ones are the ones that are actually most costly.